Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Metagame Show Host. That is M-E-T-A, Game Show Host, not I Met a Game Show Host, which I have not done yet. Maybe soon, but right now we're just talking about the mini games and micro games within larger games, and a lot of math, a lot of emotions, a lot of temple runs, and a lot of rigged childhoods so far. With me today, I have my good friend Chris from Crew3 Podcast. Go ahead, Chris. How's it going?
Hey, doing solid.
Glad you joined me today. We go into a different game show and discuss all the ins and outs and mostly work down the most optimal strategy we can in order to win the game show now. Whether or not the game show is still around or only for children is irrelevant. We are going to win as much as we can.
We're winners.
We are winners. That's ultimately what we are.
That's what we do.
Today on the docket, deal or no deal?
Deal.
Well, all right. We're off to a good start then.
Podcast over, right? I mean,
yeah,
we did it. We achieved the goal.
Deal or no deal? I don't remember when it aired. I should
2005.
2005? That makes sense.
Yep.
I was just going to say, when I was in high school, I watched this with my family a lot.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me. I watched it actually with my family. We love Deal or No Deal. We're going to go into it, but what a simple game, and the roller coaster rides they took us on. Howie Mandel was a magician, you know?
It really is. I don't think there's anything wrong with Deal or No Deal. I think that it was way entertaining, super fun. I think that it's a great game, but beyond game, it's a great television show.
Right.
Like the characters, I mean not characters, but the people we meet. And like you definitely get to feel and like learn, meet all the family members, every missing parent, every youth choir director.
Yeah, that's
of the person.
That's just the thing that I wasn't a fan of. I watched an interview with Howie Mandel, and he said it is preparation for the role, right? And he made an interesting statement, which is that he was one of the first comedians to be a game show host. Before then, like they didn't want comedy as part of the thing; they wanted like professionalism, you know. And so he kind of calls himself one of the first. And I looked back, and he's kind of right. Like as far as stand-up guys, being game show host, he's there. And he talked about the very first episode. He remembers the lady. He was going to ham it up and do a little more goofy stuff. And then she said, "I'm a single mother. I can't afford a house. And I'm like behind on my bills." And he was like, "Oh, okay." So he dropped a lot of
money. Yeah.
He dropped a lot of the, I don't mean to laugh so hard at that, but it's just like they get, you know, they try and find kind of the saddest stories they can put in front of us. And it's kind of weird. It's like, should this be for entertainment? You know, I don't know.
I mean, I loved America's Got Talent. They like to build up, the big backstory people that come up and do amazing things and stuff like that. But there becomes a point where it's too much. I don't think this was too much at all.
No.
There was a lot of fun stuff. Like there was definitely like single mother working 7 jobs and like finally getting the break they need. Right. And then there was also like this youth choir instructor, and then like his entire children's choir from his church showed up to sing about him at, you know, in the mid. And that's just great and wholesome.
It didn't seem exploitative. I don't know. Is that a word? And
right.
In America's Got Talent doesn't either. But
I'm just going to throw this under the bus. I was watching this weekend. American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, right.
Have you watched that show at all?
Of course, yeah. Not recently, but I definitely.
There is not a single person that goes through there without a like ultra sad story.
Of course, yeah. I got to know their cousins run in with gingivitis. You know.
If they don't have a sad story, you literally just see them fall into a pool, and it's like, oh, not gonna make it this time for Frederick No Name. You know?
Right, yeah. They don't get the theme music as they enter the ring. That's, you know, they're not gonna win.
Right, and it feels so bad because like American Ninja Warrior, you know, it's a game about people falling on their face. And like it's just like all this stuff, all these bad things, and I overcame them, and now I'm here on American Ninja Warrior. They blow the whistle, and they slip on the first obstacle, and into the pool they go.
Right.
But anyways, that's neither here nor there. Deal or No Deal, I think, was a perfect, like, non-exploitive, very fun look, and it's really just fun.
Yeah. I think you nailed it. I think like we're gonna go into here, like it was one of the games that was just very, very math based. Even if like the contestant didn't have to do a lot of math, like you kind of just you knew what you wanted. As we're gonna go into, a lot of math goes into that.
Deal or No Deal also took a 1 hour time slot.
Wow!
Did you realize that Deal or No Deal was a 1 hour time slot show?
I didn't. How many contestants were on each show? Do you know?
No more than 2 ever.
Yeah.
Some of them would like start and then have to like come back next time.
Well, how did the game work, Ricky? I've never seen Deal or No Deal. I'm just an average Australian resident who's never even heard of that show with this Howie Mandel on it. I'm a contestant on the show. What do I do?
So Howie Mandel, he is looking great.
Right.
And he stands in the middle of this stage. And you get to stand sort of close to him, but not next to him.
Do I get to hug him?
Sometimes.
Oh, okay.
Mostly not.
Mostly not, all right.
And what happens is Howie Mandel has these wonderful models come in with briefcases with numbers on them, 26 to be exact, and he says you can have any one of them.
Models or cases?
Cases.
Oh, okay. The model doesn't come with the case?
No. In fact, once you pick the case, that model goes home.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Backstage.
She's fired or?
She's done for the show. She gets to relax and sit in the green room and enjoy.
Nice. Okay, gotcha.
So really the models you don't like, you should leave them for last because
strategy
they have to stand
over.
there longer.
Yeah, absolutely. I was wondering if this was some kind of weird Borat situation at first,
There's a little... it's weird because like I watched a little bit of the show getting prepared for this, right? Mm-hmm. For like... there's like some contestants that like mention like the models.
Yeah.
Too much.
Yeah. Not 2020 appropriate. Yeah,
for sure.
I read some commentary on that too, right? Which is like, could you have like Howie flaunt like 26 models? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, would that make sense these days? And like, yeah, because I definitely also remember like I'll pick the beautiful one or something like that. I remember that happening back in the day.
Redheads never steer me wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna pick. And it's just like, can you not? Yeah. Can you not, please?
Uncle Jeff, can you cool it, man? Like, yeah,
we got your whole youth choir here.
Yeah. Your
grandma,
you can't comment on the redheads.
Is sitting right there.
Yeah, oof. Yeah, take it easy on the redhead comments for sure.
But
so what's in these cases?
There is dollar amounts from 1 cent.
Okay.
Which for now on, for the rest of this episode, it's just zero.
Right.
It's just zero.
It's just zero.
All of my calculations are going to be off by a cent because it's zero.
Sure.
You lose. Okay. It's Howie Mandel does not. He probably does actually hand you a penny.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
That's funny.
I don't think he would. I don't think he would touch change.
That's probably true. Yeah. A producer would hand you a penny.
Producer would, yeah.
All the way up to $1 million.
$1 million. Wow. How do I win the $1 million?
You got to pick it. 1 in 26 chance.
Okay. Interesting.
And if you pick the $1 million, you win $1 million.
Wow.
That's simple.
Or do I?
But we're gonna take our time. We're not gonna open your case. What we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly open the cases you didn't pick to see what you didn't win.
Okay.
Starting with 6 cases, then 5 cases, then 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1. Until all the cases are opened except for 1 case and your case. After every grouping of openings, Howie Mandel will pick up a fake telephone and talk to a shadow man.
Right.
Known as the banker.
Yeah.
And the banker will offer you money to leave. He essentially says, here is the dollar amount that we will pay you right now, and you quit playing. We don't open any more cases, and you go home with money.
With the money that I've offered. Makes sense.
Right. You are then given the only real option, the second real option in the game.
Yeah.
If you'd like to take the banker's offer, aka his deal.
Sure.
Or if you'd like to no deal.
Do I get to do anything cool when I no deal?
You do. You get to scream no deal and shove this like big red nuclear launch button Like, you get to shove the little plastic window shut on it.
Slam it down on it, huh?
Yeah, slam it down and be like, no deal, Mr. Capitalist Man.
Uncle Sam.
They have like this like big, like, it looks like a fake penthouse, and there's like a silhouetted man with a green visor with his feet up on a desk.
Yeah.
You know, like
the mythos of the banker is real. Like, I remember back in like 2005, smartphones were not everywhere. Like, there was a lot of mythos about the banker, and like, is this person really calling the shots, right? Like, are they actually communicating with Howie Mandel? Like, or is he just doing some really good improv? Because he pretend like he talks to somebody, you know? Right.
Is Howie Mandel the banker?
It's I've heard that too, right? Like, yeah.
Have you seen the banker and Howie Mandel in the same room?
same time. I think so, right? Because like, the banker's up there in a silhouette, and Howie Mandel's down there.
The silhouette is, of course, to mask the identity of the banker, because every time the banker shows up, all of the audience boos him.
Yeah, he's the bad guy, right?
He is the bad guy.
He's trying to offer you as little money as possible to get out of here.
To leave, yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. So this creates, of course, this big stadium mentality as everybody sits and watches with bated breath as every case gets opened, hoping you open lower numbers to make the bank offer go higher. Yeah. And then when that number goes higher, they get to cheer even more when you say, I don't need that money, no deal.
That's right. Yeah, get out of here. Million or nothing.
Million or nothing. And then they start going, I've got the million. I've got the million. And then they open the million on round 3. And then it's like, I didn't have the million.
The devastation sets in.
But you could have the million. You have a 1 in 26 chance, and that is perfectly fair. I looked at numbers on which case had the million, because, of course, it gets revealed every time.
Right.
Whether somebody opens it or not, at the end of the, even when you take the deal, Howie opens up your case and then the case with the $1 million in it to show you that it was there, right?
Sure, yeah.
So
they open up all of them.
They probably do.
Yeah.
The million is pretty evenly distributed amongst the case numbers, with the lowest possible million chance being case 19.
Oh, okay.
Randomly, just like on average, like when you average the numbers up, like case 19 is like lacking 10 million.
So you're telling me I shouldn't pick case number 19 because...
I'm telling you that Gambler's Fallacy says you should take case 19.
Oh, because it's due.
Because it's due.
No, see, but I'm going the opposite way. I'm superstitious. And so, it hasn't been there before, so I'm not going to pick it, right?
Exactly. Either one of those ways doesn't matter because it is very provenly random.
Okay, gotcha.
You could have the million, you could not have the million. It is 1 in 26 chance, and that is a fair choice you are given. There's no hocus pocus or banker magic that makes the million disappear.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point too, because I was watching an interview with Howie, and he talks about the process, and a lot of people think, well, that he knows, right? Because sometimes you do see them, reveal the million, but it's because they're revealing all the cases, and he's like, no. And it's kind of funny because if you watch it, he casually references the original quiz show. And I don't remember the actual name of it. They made the movie quiz show, and he's like, oh, yeah, where somebody cheated, right? So anyway, now a third-party company randomizes all the cases. And that's definitely not what happened. Somebody did not cheat. The network that ran the program was feeding the answers to the players in order to make a more entertaining thing. So, it's not just somebody cheated, but I like how he tried to play it off like that. But he said that on occasions, they had a model fall, and the case broke open. And they had to hire another company to come in and randomize the cases.
That makes sense. There was the best parody of Deal or No Deal that I've ever seen was, I think, on 30 Rock, where they were making Deal or No Deal, but the money is actually in the cases.
Okay.
So always pick the model that's struggling to lift her case.
Yeah. I remember watching that episode. Yeah, that's pretty good.
But once you pick... you have to enter into rounds, and you will not get an offer, or you cannot stop opening cases until you've cleared the number of cases for your round. Okay. So it starts at 6 and then works its way down.
Right.
After every round is when you're given an offer, and essentially you want to make as much money as possible. But how much exactly do you want to make?
Yeah, good question. How much do I want to make?
Well, I can tell you exactly that this is a game of EV. Expected value.
EV, like the Pokemon. Oh, no.
Yeah, like EV, the Pokemon, yes.
Okay, gotcha.
Expected value, and essentially trying to figure out, like, what is the median value of any case at any particular point in time.
Mm-hmm.
And at the beginning of the game, with all the money accounted for in 26 cases, on average, your case should be worth $131,477.
Okay.
That was the dumbest way to say that, but $131,477. There we go.
Okay, but so you tricked yourself on that one.
Right. So if we could ever get a banker value of higher than $131,000 and some dollars and change, right?
Mm-hmm.
We would be ecstatic because we have now exceeded the value of the case when we chose it.
Gotcha. Okay.
The value of the case is going to change as we open cases, but it doesn't change the point in time when we were allowed to choose it.
Sure.
So at the beginning of the game with 26 different options that are all fair, every case is worth, until proven otherwise, $131,000.
Okay. Makes sense to me.
We are looking to take any deal over $131,000 if we can get it.
Okay.
This is step one to our strategy.
All right.
Is that you don't go chasing waterfalls.
Waterfalls, okay.
Or the $1 million case, because
case.
Your odds are very bad to have it.
Sure. Now let me say this, though. Does that, like, EV as kind of like the percentage of cases left, like, I think that makes sense as a strategy, what you're saying, but, like, what about if what if I've already opened the million, right? What if my cases left are, like, you know, to the lower end? Is there, like, a percentage that I should pull the trigger at, or am I always getting hosed?
So because of the way the values are distributed, there's actually quite a few values above 131,000.
Right.
In fact, we have 200,000, 300,000, 400,000, $500,000, $750,000, and 1 million.
Sure.
Which means we have 6, I'll call them winning cases. Which also means we have 6 losing cases, which are the 0, the 1, the 5, the 10, the 25, and the 50.
Okay, sure.
They're the most losing cases.
Right.
So we're hoping to open, when we're showing cases, we want to open the losing cases without opening the winning cases. And then the middle cases, the medium cases, are going to just fall where they may.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, of course, there's no strategy to pick random numbers, so we can't assure this. But we can know ranges of numbers, and using math that might not be so fast, especially when Howie Mandel is showing you your long-lost sister. But if you can do some quick arithmetic or get a hold of a piece of paper or just, wear a calculator watch.
Right.
What you're wanting to see is when the banker is offering you over the median value of the case when you picked it.
Okay.
So I do believe that even if you are ahead, so real quick, in round 1, you open 6 cases.
Right.
So let's assume we open the best possible cases, the 6 losing cases, right? If we open the 6 losing cases in round 1, we would then have a median value. And supposedly, if the banker is offering us median value, which makes sense financially from a banker standpoint,
right.
We'll come back to how the banker works later because it gets a little complicated.
Yeah, it does.
In round 1, if we opened our best possible cases, the banker would give us a value of $170,916.
Okay. That sounds like more than the 130 you were telling me.
Yeah, 131 to 171. So it is a $40,000 increase if we hit the best possible luck ever.
Okay.
From that position, we most likely will lose value in the offer.
Sure. Yeah.
Because we're going to hit the bigger range of numbers at that point. So we have to open 5 more cases.
Yeah. The odds say, right, with that many left.
Right. So at our best possible scenario in situation 1, we could be offered 170,000, 171,000 if we round, right? Mm. If we open the worst 6 cases in round 1, this is are you ready? Strap in.
I'm ready.
That's opening the million, the 3/4, the $500,000, the 400, the 300, and the 200,000.
Yeah.
The median remainder value of the cases becomes $13,420.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. That's
big dip.
Yeah.
But if we hit our best possible option, we didn't gain as much as we could possibly lose.
Sure.
Because we see from our median value of our case of 131, we go to 171, which is a $40,000 increase. But going down to $13,000 is a $117,000 decrease.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's that benchmark of 131 is not going to be easy to make. So whenever you see any value over 131, you should more than likely be taking it, with the exception of something stupid like you made it to like the last 3 cases and they're all the 3 highest value.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
In which case you also should probably take the deal. But anytime we are offered 131, especially in the first 2 or 3 rounds, we should definitely take it.
Right. That's the safest thing.
Huh?
That's the safest thing.
It is the safest thing, but it's also like not only just the safest thing, but like the floor is much lower than the ceiling.
Sure.
As weird as that seems, because like it seems like there's $900,000 more to go to the ceiling, because we could have the million. We could let it ride all the way.
Right. But the thing is, like the clumps between the top 6, like the difference between those cases is much larger, right, than the bottom 6.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense to me. See, I did those quick maths.
It creates a really volatile range of medians, because like as soon as if you open like the first 6 all perfectly right, and then in round 5 you just open the top 2 amounts, like you're just plummeting the value of all the cases.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then the next one is 5. Yeah, it's funny. The difference between if you're counting up, like the 24th and 26th cases is like the same as the difference between like the bottom, 15 or something like that. Like maybe even more. Like the $500,000 difference between the $500,000 and $1 million, which is, I guess it's 3 cases, right? 500,000, 750, and $1 million is, bigger than at least the bottom 10 or 12. I'm pretty sure.
Right, for sure. I mean, like we go up from 0 to $1.
Yep.
To 5 to 10, 25, 50, like 75, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 750, and then 1,000.
Wow, so it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's even more. Wow, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, it's just, and then 5,000, 10,000, 25,000, 50,000, 75,000, and then 100,000. Then we get to our 6 winning numbers.
Wow, gotcha. So it's probably like the bottom 20 then. That's what it's the difference between the top 3 at the 500 and a million. So yeah, definitely stats that like if you're more likely to open those bottom ones, but once you open those big ones, your values are just going to plummet.
Right. And just, real quick, the way you're, of course, calculating this is you're literally just adding up the remaining money values and dividing it by the number of remaining cases.
Yes, the number of cases that there are, the number of numbers that you did. It makes sense to me.
If you were to add up all of the money, the total amount of money in the cases, is $3,418,416.
Gotcha.
So you literally lose 1/3 of your total value of the cases when you open the $1 million case.
Yeah.
So the thing is, like, you think you're doing well when you open all the lower cases, but actually because of how heavily the median gets hit by opening any of the high cases, like that's what's going to, like, because you open the worst case, you open the 0, and you don't actually change the total value, the total money. Yep. That's what keeps the value high, of course. But like you open up like the $1 million or the $500,000 and you're just like tanking like 20% to 33% of your total value.
Makes sense. So in this case, we can see that the game is slanted in favor of the house just by the number of low values, right? Like what they're trying to do is just say, hey, yeah, there's more low values, so you're more likely to take those off, but eventually you're going to hit one of those big ones, and then you're losing significant chunks of our offer.
So because rounds 1 and 2, in round 1 you have to open 6, and in round 2 you have to open 5.
Yeah.
So that will be 11 cases opened, and you're of the 26, right? So at that point, you have opened a little under half. So even then, at that point, if you've opened like all the best cases, right? You've got, you still have like possibilities of winning like the 500, the 750, the 1,000.
Right.
Like the median there real quick, it drops. It doesn't go up as much. Like we go from like a 171 average after opening 5 more great cases for us, like our best possible 5 cases. We go up to like about a $200,000 value.
Okay.
And it sounds like a lot because it is a lot of money. But we opened the 6 best cases and we raised our value by from 131 to 171, so by 40,000, and now we've upped another 30,000. We're diminishing returns.
Sure.
Like the lower numbers removing the lower numbers, and then at the end of that round we have to open 4 more, and at that point we've opened over half. It guarantees that we have hit 2 numbers on the right side of the board, which are our big driving numbers.
Right. We're more likely than not to have opened those, is what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
Like best case scenario, once again, is that we now still have the 10,000 as a possibility, or not even the 10,000. If we have to open 4 more cases, the 10,000. 10,000 would be the lowest amount we could have left on the board, which still makes us a pretty volatile range. Sure. So, like, it definitely is. You're definitely in a great spot. You're definitely at that point looking at like a $225,000 deal.
Yeah.
I mean, and once again, this is why we're like, you have to snap at 131 or higher.
Right.
Because like even opening all 6 of the best cases, literally just opening even just the 400,000 will just like tank your offer.
Sure. Now what about if I'm playing the actual Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel?
When you're playing the actual Deal or No Deal with Howie Mandel,
yeah,
you're going to be hard-pressed to recalculate the averages in the middle of talking to all your family members and joking around with Howie Mandel and being America's best friend. For about 54 minutes, you are America's best friend.
Sure.
And that's worth something.
Yeah.
But while you were playing the game, you just got to pick numbers. There's no rhyme or reason to picking the numbers, and the only thing you need to remember is the $131,000 number that you were aiming for.
Sure.
Of course, there will come a point where you have clearly thrown that away.
Yeah.
By no fault of your own, of course. This is a complete random numbers game.
Right.
And you just have to deal with the random numbers that you get given.
Yeah.
So, of course, if you've opened like most of the high values in the first 2 rounds, if you get to the point where even if you win the highest case, you're only looking at like the 200,000 or the 100,000, now we're in an interesting position where it might be worth it to keep opening to try to get to the clumped values that you have left.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's assume our buddy Rookman was the one opening the cases, and he obviously opened all 6 of the highest cases in like the very first round.
Right. So at that point, his value per case is about 13,000.
Sure.
So if you open all the worst cases, right, the top 6 cases, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, your highest prize is now $100,000, and your average value per case is 13,000.
Yeah.
While the odds of you getting one of the cases are a little, better now, you have 4 cases left that are above your average value. And 1 case at the 10,000 level, which is pretty darn close, right?
Yeah.
So now we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cases as winning. So you have a 5 out of 20 So a 25% chance that your case is now a quote winning case, and until we have to reevaluate again, you're probably not going to be taking a $13,000 deal when you've got a 25% chance at having a more than $13,000 case.
At a higher than that, sure. And and let me ask you this question. I don't know how much research you've done on this, but is the banker offering the expected value on these cases?
So it's about time we get into this, because the banker does not offer the expected value or price per case every time he calls.
Right.
And it's a little tough to pin down because it's not exact every time.
Right.
But most patterns show that the banker will offer you 20% less than your estimated value of the remaining cases in the first 2 rounds, 10% less in the 3rd round, even EV in round 4. And then if you make it to round 6, he sometimes even offers you up to 10% more than EV.
This is also what I saw, but I saw that the first offer is typically around that 13 to 15,000 mark or somewhere in there. That the very first offer they give you in order to make the show go on longer is actually 15% of, not 15% less, but 15% of your EV. And the charts that I show a linear regression where it follows the rest of what you're saying, though, where like as you go later, you start catching up to your actual expected value and then going higher, or can possibly go higher 5th or 6th round. But as we're saying, it's just it's not exact, right? Like it's a
15% of
15% of the expected value. Yeah. Because like you said, like your first elimination, right? Typically your average expected case value is what? You still got 100,000 unless things went terribly, right? Your average value or whatever is still there. So the people that I've seen look at this show that it's 15% of expected value because they don't want you to take the first offer, right?
They definitely don't want you to take the first offer.
And that's the thing.
And you shouldn't take the offer on the model I found where it was 20%, 20%, 10%. So just 15% of is crazy because that's just on the first offer. Now the rest of them match up with what you're telling me. But on the first offer, they're looking at values that, and if I recall correctly, maybe I'm off on this, but I remember them being somewhere between like 10 to 20. Because if they were $40,000, people would just be like, "Well, I can buy a new car," right? Like you're going to have somebody who's just going to buck the system and take it. It's like the first offers are extremely low. Because if you look at how high, like your math shows, your actual value is, your actual EV is, assuming you opened randomly, your EV on those cases is still actually very high, right? So 15% of, that means on your best possible opening for round 1, which is what we determined a case value after round 1, opening the best values, would be 171,000. 15% of, he's offering you $25,000.
Yeah. Yep.
Which is
on the first offer.
Double what he'd offer if we had the worst possible round 1.
Right. That makes sense. I typically remember first offers, like I said, being between $10,000 and $20,000.
I definitely do remember watching an episode where a guy opened like 4 of the top 5 values in the first round, and the banker offered him $6 in round 1.
At that point, just bring on the McDonald's gift card. You know what I'm saying? It's like, hey, here you go, man. Like, you want this? Like, you want a couple Big Macs and some mayonnaise on the house? Because that's about what you're getting here.
To be fair,
yeah,
Howie Mandel did not fly you, your mom, that boss that's been mean to you for the last couple of weeks because they're having a bad time with their dog,
right?
And found your long lost grandmother.
Yeah.
He didn't do that for you to deal on the first go.
No.
And the way they open these cases, and it bugged me as a kid, and it doesn't bug me as much now because I've got an ad blocker and I'm watching things online. Don't ad block my stuff, though. Please watch this with an ad. Support us on Patreon. Anyways.
Yeah.
they would open these cases so slowly.
Right.
Like, especially when you got into round 3, because round 3 has 4 cases, and it's like, can you pick a case? And it's like, I pick case 7.
No. You shorted that number statement by about 1 minute, because that third round has to take about 10 minutes of the show. So like they think like, what number are you going to pick? And they deliberate, right? Oh, am I going to pick number 7? And they'll talk about, number 7 because I just love brunettes. And you're like, Uncle Jeff, cool it, man. Like you're weirding me out. But he's like, oh, but I don't know that number 15 is my lucky number, but I'm going to go 7. And it's like, okay, like all that to get to that one case. And then,
but I've got 8 cats at home.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it. And then is the model going to open the case immediately?
No, of course not. Of course not. They're going to mug at the camera and put on a big surprise face. And then Howie Mandel is going to be like, are you ready to see what's in that case?
That's
and they go, yeah, Howie Mandel. And he's like, after this break, we will.
That's right. That's exactly.
Everybody in the audience goes,
that tricky Howie Mandel got us. Yeah.
And then we watch some nice family-friendly primetime ads.
That's right.
And then we come back, and it's still like, when we left Marcus...
Let's recap the past 4 cases that got opened.
He decided that his grandmother's lucky number was 8.
Right.
But she ain't never won the lottery, so he picked 7.
Instead, that's right. That's exactly right. So here we go from here,
so... it takes forever for them to open the cases in the later rounds. In the first round, it's like, all right, just pick 6, right? Let's go. Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. And the people will think and him and haw a bunch, especially if a big number gets open, then they have to take time to recuperate. And Howie Mandel's going to be like, you're still in it. Don't worry. There's still that 750,000 out there for you to look for. That's in your case. That's what you got, Or the best thing is every time Howie Mandel, they open like the $500,000.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's fine.
That's fine.
The million's in your case. You got to open the $500,000.
That's fine. Yeah, you got to. Every time the worst happens, old Howie's there to comfort you. He's like, no, that's okay. That's okay. We've still got 3 high dollar cases on the board, or whatever, however he says it. He's a master. So
the banker, of course, really gyps you on the first one,
right,
and most likely on the second one.
Yep.
You really should not. It would be really nice if the banker does offer you within a 10% down from your current case cost to take it if you're over 131 still. The first one, of course, now that we're hearing that it's 15% of. You're never taking that in the world. They've got you for another 5 cases.
Yeah.
But the more cases you open, the worse your offers get. Which is, clearly the game, right?
Right.
So you really want to avoid opening cases as much as you can while trying to maximize the amount of money you're trying to get.
Yep.
That being said, at round 4, you're going to be offered exactly your EV. Almost always.
Sure.
So round 4 means you've opened 6 and then 5 and then 4 and then 3 cases. So your next one is to open 2. And so, Howie's going to be like, that's a good offer, but, you only have to open 2 cases next time.
Right.
Like that's a selling point.
Yep. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And then... After round 4.
I like that one where it's like you're presented with a field of landmines. It's like, now, there's only 30 landmines in this whole entire field here. You want to run across? There's some marshmallows at the end of the field if you want to go ahead and go take them.
Oh. Essentially just like, but this time only 2 steps.
Yeah.
So after that, round 5 and round 6, the banker will actually offer the dealer. You're the dealer, right?
Yeah.
That is your position as the player. You are the dealer.
Sure.
You choose the deal or the no deal.
Yep.
Anyways, the banker will offer you more than likely 5 to 10% more than your EV. Because at this point, his actual job is to save the network money.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And if you're just crazy enough to flip a coin between a $500 case and a $500,000 case,
Sure.
they could lose that coin flip.
Wow. Uh-huh.
So there, it also makes good television that you get a little bit more than what you should be getting.
Mm-hmm.
When it gets, and then after that, you get down to just the one case left and your case. And the final offer is almost always dead set middle of your two remaining choices. Just the perfect average of the two numbers.
Yeah.
Because that is when people can do the fastest math, I think. And so they don't want people to know that, like, they're offering weird numbers, but maybe they are offering weird numbers. Sure. The banker's supposed to be a shady person anyways. That's why you only see him in a silhouette.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question real quick. Do you have the cases in front of you? What's the median value? What's the middle number?
The median value?
Yeah. What's the case in the middle? What's like case number?
The two cases in the middle, because it's an odd.
It's an even, right? Whatever. Give me case number 13. 13 or 14?
$750.
$750. That's interesting. So I pulled up some stuff looking at this, like looking at, hey, when do you take the deal, right? Because it's a tough question to ask given the nature of this game. This game is extremely complicated because it's all luck and it's all math, right?
Right.
It says
it is ever-changing statistics and EV.
Right. We talk about expected value when you talk about the average, right? I found a study that looked at the expected value in terms of what contestants actually found in their cases. And the average of that number was $6,139. Because there are so many more low numbers.
Right.
So this is interesting because it talks about the fact that people who took a deal won as one doing better than what their case had 73% of the time.
Right.
So like if they're offering me EVs like even close, it sounds to me like we want to take it.
Right. Round 4. Mm-hmm. At that point in the game, if you still have high values left, you're going to be offered even EV for your case. And whether or not it's at the 131 goal amount that we want, you should almost always take round 4's offer.
Makes sense to me.
It is the fairest offer you're going to get with opening the fewest number of cases. Now, if you make it to round 4 and the highest value is 50,000, like that's your highest value, play on. Because when you get to the lower numbers, there's not as much of the gaps aren't as big in between the numbers.
Sure.
So as I said before, like when you get down to like 6 cases left, if your 6 cases left are 400, 500, 750, 1,000, 5,000, 10,000, the 10,000 and 400 are way smaller gaps than things like 300 to 400 or 100 to 200,000. So you have a better chance at having one of the higher cases at that point. Like the amount lost is not as much.
Sure. By continuing to play.
Right.
Yeah. Your EV lost by continuing to
bonus,
play. Yeah, it doesn't take a dive.
You get the bonus 5% by going to round 5.
Yeah.
Almost always, it's at least a 5% bump on your EV. And as dumb as it sounds, you only have to open 2 more cases. And with like 6 cases left, opening 2 of them, the odds are you're going to hit the lower 66% and raise your value and get a boosted value for round 5. But you are always looking to make a deal in this game.
Sure.
For sure. I also looked up those numbers about the people making the deal.
Yeah.
I saw those numbers about the 73% earning more than their case value.
Right.
Also, like, you just make more money in general. Like, the people who go to the end, like, of course, it's a show that gives away $1 million, so we have to have $1 million winners. And there are $1 million winners. They have amazing nerves. Or they don't like math.
Yeah.
And they did it. It is, I think, incredibly dumb to chase $1 million in this game.
Right.
With so many tempting other numbers that are very comparable to $1 million.
Yeah.
Because when it gets down to it, like $750,000 versus $1 million are, while a big gap.
Sure.
Not that big of a gap, you know what I mean?
The practical difference, especially to somebody who doesn't make that much money,
Exactly.
It's like that's the amount of money, like, people under 30 may have made in their lifetime, depending, right? Hey, you take either one. You're not going to be complaining if you win 750 instead of $1 million.
Exactly. However, there is an interesting little thing that happens if you go to the end.
Okay.
When you make it to the end and there's two cases, the banker's going to give you the final offer.
Yeah.
And you can say no deal.
Right.
And if you do that, Howie Mandel has an offer.
Does he now?
He does. He says, we've had fun.
Right.
We've talked to so many family members and little kids on the
Laughs have been had. Tears have been shed.
We've played so many commercials.
We've We've made so much money off of Pillsbury. It's insane. Yeah.
I'm gonna offer you a special Howie Mandel deal.
A Mandel deal, if you will.
Yeah, a man
deal. Yeah.
All right. How about we just switch your case with that case over there?
Is that legal? Can you do that, Howie?
How about it? We won't tell the banker.
We won't tell him.
Yeah.
Huh.
I'll let you pick.
Yeah.
Without opening either one.
Yeah.
Do you want to open your case or do you want to open that case over there?
Yeah. What percentage of people switch, do you know?
I don't, but I remember watching, and I don't think I've seen only one person switch in my lifetime.
Yeah.
I've seen many people make it to the end, and when you make it to the end, you are heels dug in. I didn't win $1 million, but I damn sure did get the $75,000 in my case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
At that point, it seems like a coin flip, right?
It does.
But this reminds me of a very, very fun statistics, probability, and game theory question.
Yeah, with old Monty, right?
A good friend, Monty Hall.
Yeah.
This to me looks like the Monty Hall problem.
Right. I remember watching this show when I was a kid, and I will tell you that in middle school, I probably got the best public education the state of Texas had to offer. And if you're not familiar with the United States, that is a gigantic meme because our education is 49th in the 50 United States? I don't know. It's bad, right? But in middle school, I had a teacher who thankfully showed us this here Monty Hall problem you're talking about. Ricky, do you want to talk about the Monty Hall problem, or should I?
You can go ahead and talk about the Monty Hall problem.
The Monty Hall problem involves the old show Let's Make a Deal, it's called, right?
Which is very similar to Deal or No.
I know, I was going to say, I was actually worried that I got it wrong, because I was like, wait, Let's Make a Deal, is that it? And then Let's Make a Deal, and this is a simplified version used for game theory. There are 3 doors. 1 contains a brand new car, and 2 contain a goat. At the initiation of the show, you're offered to pick one of the doors, right? Then the game changes. In what we'll call whatever the next round, our host Monty Hall is going to reveal that one of the doors that has a goat behind it, which is not what we want, right? Theoretically, we want the brand new car.
And it's not the door you chose.
Right, not the door you chose. He's going to take, you've got your door, and that door's being left
1, 2, or
alone.
3.
Right. One of the doors that has a goat behind it is going to for sure get revealed by Monty Hall. And then he's going to make you the man deal, if you will. He's going to say, hey, would you like to switch the door that you chose for the other door, or would you like to keep the door you chose? And at that time, little stupid Chris was like, oh, it doesn't matter, right? It's a 50-50. Little stupid Chris was wrong, and you definitely do want to switch. Ricky, why do I want to switch?
Because it's now a different... The odds you were given at the beginning were to pick one winner out of 33% chance out of 3 doors.
Right.
And now you're being offered a new, different percentage odds on the door choice.
Right. You had a 66% chance of being wrong. And that is crucial. And what makes that game the way that it is because Monty reveals to you a door that he knows is wrong. Right? And when I was 15, 2005, right, I was 15, 16, somewhere in there, watched this show, I got so mad because I was like, these stupid people, they're revealing they're sticking to their guns. And obviously they should switch, right? This is the Monty Hall problem, a classic mathematical problem. Everybody knows you should switch your choice at the end when you had a bad choice of getting the winning case at first. And then
I believe this, Chris. Yeah. You giggled a lot when I brought up the Monty Hall problem in our show prep. Okay. So I'm sure you're about to dunk this on me. But I believe that at the beginning of the game, you were offered a 1 in 26 chance,
right?
And now you are being offered the other 25 cases in this switch.
Sure.
And that you should switch because you are not taking a 1 in 26 chance anymore. You're taking the 50-50 chance now.
Sure. Yeah. Your ultimate thing that you said it's a 50-50 chance sounds right to me, because I thought about this, and I'm proud of myself for thinking about this, because I was like, wait a minute, is it the Monty Hall problem? Because I had somebody, real quick, we got to go to the crazy Chris stories. I did science fair in high school, and I was actually reasonably successful at science fair. It's probably what saved my life in many ways. And I had a judge come up to me one time when I did a problem on poker theory, and they told me that the law of random numbers said that I couldn't tell them whether or not I was going to pick a certain ball out of a bag when there were so many of one and so many of another, because he said, well, you don't know. It could be anything. And that's true. But in this case, what you have to think about is that each of the cases had an even chance to be picked at the beginning, right? So when you're comparing the chance of picking a car to picking a goat, you had a 33% chance of picking the car. And in this case, you had the same chance of picking 1 million as you did $1.
And you had a 1 in 26 chance.
Right. And the reveals are not known. They're not telling you, hey, look, we know these are the wrong ones. They are random. So at the end, when we've gotten to the two choices that we've gotten to, the reality is there was the same chance of us picking one of the cases as there was the other cases. There wasn't like, however many, whatever, winning and losing, because it was the same chance of picking one versus the other. It's not essentially the same game. I looked this up to confirm my theory, because I was like, is this? And this is called the ignorant Monty Hall, which is where the cases revealed being random makes it a completely different game, because we don't know that the good or bad cases are going to go away. It's all random. In the beginning of the game, we have the same chance of picking the $1 versus the million. It doesn't matter at the end what we do. So
you're saying that if instead there was the $1 million and then there were 25 goats.
Right. Yep.
This would be a very confusing show.
It would be a very confusing show, yeah.
If we made it to the end, we would want to switch because there was only one car, but there were 25 goats.
Not necessarily the case also, because the ones that were revealed in the meantime, right. Like if let's say, if Howie knew which ones were goats and which ones were million, and he's only eliminating the goats each time, then yes, you would want to switch, right? Because we had a bigger chance of picking the goat than the million. But because you're stuck at the end with $2 values, that you had the same chance at the beginning to pick each one of them, right? That's where it makes the difference. Is that in the Monty Hall, we have a 33% chance of picking one versus the other option, right? There's only two options in 3 doors, goat or car. And in this one, we're picking, dollar amounts that are the same as each other one. It's another interesting theory when you look at cards, right? Like when you draw, let's say we draw a forehand of cards, like playing cards, right? And let's say that hand value is 2, 3, 4, 5 of spades in the particular set. It's the same odds that we draw that hand in that particular order as it is 4 aces. There's a difference in drawing cards randomly and them being, caring about the outcome, and drawing a specific set. And in this case, the set is what matters.
Right.
That's all I have to say about that.
So what you're saying is that I have that you have the same odds at any pocket in poker.
Yeah, I mean it's
like your pocket twos happen just as often as your pocket rockets. So
right, exactly right. And I think that's you. I think you hit on the head with that one, right? It's when you look at your 4 cards equaling a certain predefined set, right? Like if you get a hand of 4 cards. And, hey, you win if they're all 4 aces. Is it likely that they're going to be all 4 aces? No. But the 4-card hand that you were dealt in that particular order, you had the same chance of getting that set particular of cards than 4 aces in a row.
Right. And the thing about this that makes it not the Monty Hall problem, when I talked about it with you, So like a big thing about the Monty Hall problem is like a lot of it's sort of hard to understand, as weird as it is, because it really does seem like it shouldn't matter.
Right.
And technically, because it is a luck-based game, you could switch your hand and still lose, right? You could switch your door and still lose.
Right.
But like to better explain the Monty Hall problem, if you just increase the number of doors, it makes more sense. As dumb as this sounds. If there's 5 doors,
right,
with 1 car, and you're offered 1 in 5, and then he opens up 3 of the doors that are losers,
right,
and then offers you the switch, this looks like a much more profitable switch.
Right.
In slightly different math, but it's basically the same math if we lower the number of doors.
No, I think you nailed it. I think the tricky part of the Monty Hall is that it's being 3, and I think it's meant to be that way as a thought experiment.
Right. Loving game theory, loving things like this. This is like the kind of conversation that made me want to start this podcast. So I'm really happy we got to have this conversation. But yeah, it is not a Monty Hall problem. It is. So you think it is better to stay? It is better to stay or switch?
It doesn't matter, actually. You could do whatever you want, because again, like the whole point is that, you know, if you're down to the million and the dollar, you have the same chances of picking either one. So I was there
completely
being
random.
Angry at people thinking this was the Monty Hall problem, and it's literally just today that I put more, because who thinks about Deal or No Deal in their off time, you know?
Literally you and me.
Literally you and me. Yeah. Well, and to be fair, in prep for the show, I was thinking about it, and I was literally about to tell everybody how stupid all these contestants were when I was like, let me make sure that I'm right. And I kind of thought about it, and I was like, And funnily enough, there's not a lot about the ignorant Monty Hall on the internet, because it's not a thing, like once you get the Monty Hall. But somebody coined that term to be something that's, hey, this looks like a Monty Hall, but is not because of the way that it works.
Right. So just like, if Monty Hall doesn't know and he's just opening doors because he's crazy.
Right. And again, it also has to do not only with that, but also, again, like when you look at your odds of picking one versus the other. Like I said, if our only options are goats or cars, and we've got, 4 goats, 1 car, well, now there are really only 2 options, whereas in the Deal or No Deal, there are 26 unique options.
Exactly. So like you can't compare this to Monty Hall, because it would be like 26 door Monty Hall, but at some point while opening doors, he showed you where the car was and then goes, right, do you want to switch with the other loser?
Right. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. So switching or keeping is up to them, but if you want to keep your case because you picked it, go for it. Nothing wrong with it as far as I can see.
Right. So it's just a coin flip at the end of the day. It doesn't matter, because the game is, as much math as we've put into this and all the statistics and determining EV and stuff like that, at the end of the day, it's really, really luck-based.
It is.
And you have goals that you're aiming for, but ultimately your quote-unquote rolls or hits on your cases are just going to be completely random, and you just have to best assess the data as it's revealed.
Yeah, as best as you can.
To try to make the best decisions that you can in the very limited decisions you get to make. Because you're not actually making decisions when you're opening cases. Yep. As much as the commercial breaks and thinking about how many legs your cat has may want you to believe, it doesn't matter which cases you open, because you have no control of what's in each case.
Yeah. And I did, as a kind of a final thing, really the lesson was the friends we made on the way, right? That was the lesson. The other kind of thing that I pulled up in prep for this podcast that I thought was interesting, that I thought would be a good bookend, if you got anything else you want to talk about, was a student at Ohio State University. It's not the university. It's Ohio State University, in their math program, published a paper to the Ohio State website that looked at the numbers that they offer, because at the end of the game, right, once you take the deal, they say, oh, well, let's see what you would have done, right? Let's open some cases now and see what the offer would have been. So like that way, you can, it's just like a little extra piece at the end, right? And this person who was watching this show, a lover of this show, noticed the number they offer you, right? The alleged offer that the banker would have offered after the game seems off compared to all the offers that they did during the game. So sure enough, they did the math, and they went through and looked at the fake offers, right? We'll call them the hypothetical offers made.
Yeah, hypothetical offers, sure.
Hypothetical offers made at the end of the show, once you've already taken your deal, and there's no skin in the game for them. And they found that they were like 30% different from the EV they were offering at the same round if you were actually playing.
30% higher?
Yeah, just on average. That
makes sense, right?
The hypothetical offer was actually higher every single time, or much closer in case they were offering like low, right? Like some games they say, oh, you're going to offer close to EV, but some games they actually don't. Like there are outliers in this game. The algorithm is, it does do based on the cases that are left. So sometimes it's even lower than EV, even at round 5 or 6. And but consistently, right? They did a linear regression, made a line. Where's the hypothetical offers versus the other offers? And they were kind of like, well, this seems like cheating to me. This seems kind of funny. But yeah, sure enough, they were offering significantly more in their hypothetical post-game offers than they were during the actual rounds.
It's not really cheating, though, because
you're right.
It's information that does not impact the results of the game.
This was some grad student's attempt, I think, to be like, hey, look at my fancy paper talking about, deal or no deal cheating. You know what I'm saying?
It's definitely impressive. It makes me think of, it feels like when your opponent talks about the cards that he pulled in his sealed pool that he didn't see.
Right, sure.
For those Magic the Gathering fans out there.
Yeah. We know we got a few. Or Pokemon, whatever.
Yeah. It's like, good thing you didn't see my Chandra in that game. Sure, kid,
Didn't activate my trap.
It helps them save face. It also entices like new next group to go further, right?
Yep,
the next
exactly
player.
Right. See, you should have kept going,
Yeah. I mean, every game show likes it. Every press your luck themed game show that isn't press your luck. I swear one day we'll get to press your luck. But those types of shows, they always want to like show you that you should have just risked more.
Mm-hmm.
Or even sometimes show you like, oh, that was a good step back. Even like Millionaire. You remember Millionaire?
Yeah.
Like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You would quit and take the money and run because it'd be smart because who knows what the question is, And then they go, if you were to just take a guess, just for fun. And they throw a guess and of course they guess the right answer, but that's a literally 25% chance of hitting it right. And it's just there for like the feel bads. I don't know. It's weird.
Yep.
It's sort of like the game show, like rubbing it in at the end there.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of interesting. It's sort of funny. That makes sense. If I was running this show, I would definitely, we would have offered you all this money.
Yep.
You know?
Yep. That's how they get you.
They also, I do know that on the board, this is a side note, we're closing this out, but the side note, like a roulette table, roulette in casinos is, of course, entirely luck-based, and the gambler's fallacy is a big thing in pulling in house rakes.
Mm-hmm. I'm putting it all on black every time. You can't tell me no different.
Exactly. And when they started installing results boards on the roulette tables, the roulette tables took in so much more money. Because people could see the last 10 rolls. Yeah. And they would bet around those rolls, but it's an individual event, it's random, and it's not affected by the last 10 rolls.
Yeah.
So they'd show your past offers, and they're like, this offer is higher than last time, or look at how much lower this offer is from last time, right?
Yeah.
But like the past offers don't matter because you've already said no to them.
Right.
Like they are just there to make you feel better or worse or influence you in a way emotionally to either keep playing or step out.
Yep. And they work.
Mostly to keep playing because the good television is you keep playing.
Yep. My buddy competed in like World of Warcraft minis one time, and he said that he had a friend that he had to pull away from the tournament because his friend tried to make an argument that his opponent rolling his dice made it so that he was less likely to roll the good numbers because his opponent had rolled good numbers on those dice. Yeah. Yeah. And my buddy could explain it to him. That person, I'm pretty sure, was a poker player as well. So, yeah.
Man, there are D&D nights where it feels like I've already rolled my 20s during the research in the library section of the encounter and not in the combat encounter.
That's always how it goes, right? You always roll that 20 on the persuasion check to let a guy give you a deal on a horse, right? But like when you're trying to kill the big bad, man, those ones are going to come, aren't they?
They sure are.
Yep.
This has been a lot of fun.
I'm glad. I had fun as well.
I enjoyed this a lot, talking about Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, thanks for me on.
Chris, do you think you could perform well on Deal or No Deal?
I think that I would, have what it takes to get on the show, because I'm going to lie and say I'm taking no deals, and then as soon as he offers me enough to pay off my car, I'm taking it.
Sure. I am bound to the calculator, as all good, not real math students are, and even the math majors are. Calculator is life. I could not do the quick, median, and EV calculations in my head, especially not with like all sorts of emotional stuff happening in the background about like my childhood pet goat that ran away.
That's right. When you were picking doors in the Monty Hall problem,
he showed up. Doors, yeah.
That goat you won.
So I think that I would just have to stick with my strategy of just trying to aim for 131 and knowing when I've left the ballpark of being able to achieve the 131.
Sure.
I do think the accept every fourth round offer is almost just a great strat. It is more often than not going to be an even EV at your current case value.
I think that's the simple one. They brought it back last year. They brought back Deal or No Deal. And if they bring it back again and you find yourself on it, that's probably what I would advise somebody to do instead of trying to like, hey, because like I think really if you can get within 10% EV after like the second round, you're in good shape because from what I'm seeing, like you said, that fourth or fifth round is where they start doing that. So like once you get within that 10% EV, you probably just want to take it no matter how, well or poorly things went. So, that fourth round is probably a good place to call it quits.
Sounds good. Well, Chris, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We run a Magic the Gathering podcast called Crew3 Podcast. You can find me on Twitter at its_Christmas, and you can check out our Magic podcast if you like Magic.
Thanks, everyone. And I've been Ricky, your host for Metagame Show Host. Thanks for joining in for lots of math and even more fun and a decent amount of Howie Mandel. Until next time, bye.